everybody. Happy Wednesday, May. I'm still in April, May 3rd. I hope you're having a great day. It's a beautiful day here in Kansas City. Sun is shining. It's going to be 70 degrees. I hope to be able to spend some time outside. I hope it's nice where you are and you're enjoying your day. Welcome to Coffee and a Card. I am almost done with my coffee. I picked up an iced latte, an iced coffee while I was at the grocery store, and it's almost done. I had a doctor's appointment this morning, and on the way home, I thought I'd treat myself to something. So I was at the grocery store anyway, and there was a Starbucks inside, so I got that. Do you treat yourselves? Comment if you treat yourself when you've gone to the doctor, done a chore. Sometimes I just like to treat myself, and I was trying to think of something that was low calorie, low fat, low carb treat, and the iced coffee won out. Today I'm going to share a really fun little card that has been everywhere all over the internet. I've seen it and I didn't know how to do it. I didn't take the time to investigate. And then if you were here with me yesterday, I told you that over the weekend I not over the weekend, last Thursday, I met with some girlfriends and we did some shoebox swaps. And Betty Holton, another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, taught me how to make this lattice card. So I wanted to share with you in case you hadn't taken a minute to learn this. I'm going to pop this up and I'm going to put myself in the corner. Isn't that a fun little card? Now I didn't do anything to the inside yet. It would be a nice place to put a greeting up here or to send a little note to the recipient. This is made using the Dainty Delight stamp set and coordinating dies. There are all the dies. I have used, or Betty has used, this long stem or vine, and then the little daisy die. So there's not a lot of stamping, just the sentiment. Most of it is die cutting, and I did a lot of that ahead of time. And I wanted to show you how to cut the card base. So I'm going to grab my paper trimmer. This is just a scrap cardstock. This is not basic white. Sometimes I buy a pack of cheap cardstock. I don't want to stamp on it because it doesn't accept ink very well, but it's kind of nice to use for templates and things like that. And so I'm going to use this to show you how to cut this because I've already done all the cutting on the sample we're going to make today. All right, so you're going to take an 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of cardstock and you're going to cut it in half at 4 1/4. So this will make 2 cards. So, and then on the piece, the 11 by 4 1/4 inch piece of paper, you're going to score it at 5 1/2, just as if you were going to make an A2 card. So I'm going to score it right here at 5 1/2, and then fold it on the score line so it looks just like a normal card. Now, this is going to be the front of the card. We're going to take off 3 inches from this side. But don't worry, we're going to use that 3 inches. So there's our 3 inches, and now we have the card base. Now we're going to take this piece of 4 1/4 by 3, and we're going to cut it into 4 1/2-inch strips. Okay, so you've basically used that whole piece of paper. You've just got a little scrap left, and if you wanted to, you could use it for your sentiment tag, and that's probably what Betty did. I'm going to use our double oval punch to make my sentiment on mine. I'm changing mine up just a little bit, but so you don't waste that. But I would save this. This is always good for a die or a punch or a sentiment strip. Okay, so we've got our card base, and I'm going to make sure. I hope I'm where I'm supposed to be. I see there's eyes on me, but you guys are being shy. You're not saying hello. I hope I'm where I'm supposed to be. We'll just continue on. Okay, these are our 4-inch strips. Do I need 5-inch? 5 of them? Nope, just 4. 4 1/2-inch by 4 1/4 inch strips are card base. Now you're going to need 2 strips, 2 1/2-inch strips that are longer than 4 1/4. So I went ahead and cut those out of a scrap, and I think I cut them a 1/2-inch by 5. Let's measure. Hey, Stace, how are you? Yeah, 1/2-inch by 5, because that is going to be what we're going to use to support our lattice on, and then we'll trim out any extra. Now you could do it all the way to the top here. I'm just going to choose to put mine kind of right here. If you didn't want this to show, you could put an extra piece of cardstock over it, but I don't think it's a big deal. It looks like a lattice on the inside. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this because this is my practice cardstock, and I'm going to get our good, nice, basic white. I did use thick, basic white thick, to give it a little bit of oomph. And I'm going to get all my strips out here. So there's my 2 5-inch by 1/2-inch, and here's my 4 1/2-inch by 4 1/4 inch. Okay, now I'm going to show you the trick that will keep everything straight and squared up on these lattice cards. I'm using grid paper, and the first 2 things I want to do is I want to add my 2 side fence posts, as you would say. I don't know. So I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to use my grid paper here. And I'm going to put just a tiny bit of glue. Stacy said this looks doable. I thought it looked awesome, but maybe too challenging for me, but I can do that. Yes, you can do that. This is what I didn't know. I kind of hesitated to make one of these cards, and then Betty taught me over last week. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue there. I'm probably being premature. And then I'm going to use my 2 grids, 2 squares, and I'm going to come in and use this line right here on my grid paper. So I'm a 1/2 inch in from the side, and then I'm going to take my other piece. Let's make sure we are, yeah, see, we're going to cut off the extra, and I don't care what this looks like over here. I'm going to line this up with my grid paper again because I moved it a little bit. And then I'm lining this up with the line on my grid paper. I'm going to let that glue set a little minute. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. So here's my other 1/2 inch by 5 inch piece of cardstock. I don't think it matters which side is which. Might be easier to do it this way because I can eyeball how deep I went with that one, and I want to go 2 squares in with my grid paper, and then I can line it up with the line right there. On the grid paper. I'm going to let that set. So now we know those are perfectly straight and square because we've lined it up along the grid. You might have a T-square ruler. That would work as well, just to make, because you want these to be really square. That's my first tip. Use your grid paper to line up the first two, I'm going to call them fence posts. Okay, now the next part will blow your mind because Betty is brilliant. She gave us at our little gathering, our little get together, she made us these 1/4 inch strips out of, it's kind of, it might be like a foil paper. It's got a heaviness to it. And this is going to be our spacer. So we're going to line this up with the grid paper, and then I'm going to put my little spacer, which is, it's 1/4 inch wide. So you'll want to cut a little, I'm going to call it a spacer, 1/4 inch wide, and you want it wider than your card. And then we'll just put a little glue on our posts. This is hard to do so you guys can see on camera. Now, if you wanted to make these strips a little longer and just trim them off at the end, when you got them all down, you could do that. I cut them exactly 4 1/4 inch wide, so that I'm having to do adjusting so that it will be the same width as my card. But if we'd made it longer, we could have just trimmed it off with our trimmer or our scissors, just like we're going to trim these ends off too. Okay, now we're going to use our spacer again. Remember, this is 1/4 inch. I panicked, y'all, because I couldn't find the spacer that Betty made me. I made another one, but I liked hers because I like that it's black and I can see it really well, and I can just butt my strips up to that spacer. Isn't that cool? Now everything's going to be straight and square. And we're going to do this 2 more times, and then we're going to decorate it. And I have seen so many of these lattice cards out and about, like I said, on the interwebs. I just have been kind of afraid to attempt it myself. And then Betty made it so easy with this. If my glue would set, you guys, I have all these hot lights on here. Oh my goodness. And I'm wondering if it's keeping my glue from setting. Hi, Carol. I don't know if I said hello, if I saw that you were there. Okay, let's try this again. I'm just getting impatient and not waiting for that glue to set, because I know your time is valuable and I don't like to take up too much of it. I appreciate it so much when you guys watch and comment. If you're watching the replay, welcome. Make sure, if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, and then you won't miss any of my videos. I come on every Monday and Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central. And then we have one more. I might have to use my little glue buddy thing to, my glue is coming out very quickly. Oh, Carol, I'm glad. Well, Betty Holton, a fellow demonstrator, taught me how to do this, and she provided me with this little spacer, and I just love it. It just keeps it all nice and neat and square. That was the one thing I was worried about. Now, I did use thick basic white cardstock just so it would have a little bit of gumption. Okay, see how straight and nice that is? Then we're just going to take our scissor and cut these extra pieces off. Okay, that's the base for this type of lattice card. You can decorate it any way you want, but I'm copying Casing Betty's card, and I'm using the Dainty Delight stamps and coordinating dies. This is a continuing set from the spring catalog. And we're just going to use a lot of our multi-purpose liquid glue. I had to think, what am I using? I'm just putting a tiny dab. I'm going to grab my tweezers. Sometimes these little things are easier to place with my tweezers. I'm just going to put this little vine right over here. And I probably didn't need to put the glue in some of those places because we don't want that to glue our card together. So be careful about that. I only had a couple of spots there. Okay. And then we're going to do one more before we add our little flowers. I think I'll just put it on along the vine. This one, these are leaning a little bit more than this one that I made the other day. That's okay. The wind is blowing. The wind is blowing. Okay, I wish that would stay down so you guys, it keeps flopping up. Okay, then I have these little flowers, and I did not pop them up at all. So let's just kind of figure out our placement. I just went into my scrap box and chose some subtle colors. I cut out 8 of these flowers. I'm just going to put 7 on, but I just did some spares. I've got some of the new Lemon Lolly, Calypso Coral, the Fresh Freesia, and the Balmy Blue. Because we're going to put our sentiment right here. You know, 5 might be fine. I'll move that one up a little bit. And then how about another one of these? I trimmed my fingernails last night and filed them all nice and neat, and they still don't want to pick things up. That's 6. So I think I'll put another one. I think I'll wait till I put my tag on and then put some more on, one more on. I'm doing this left-handed and it seems kind of awkward for me because of the tweezers. You don't need a whole lot of glue. There we go. Why don't we do this? My fingers are sticky and they want the flowers want to pop off with my fingers. It's probably way too much. I'll put this one right here. Okay. Now, let's add our sentiment, and I'm going to use, I forgot to get a block out there. I'm going to use the Celebrate You. Maybe not. It's missing. I must have used this for something else. I'm going to use the Memento ink. And what is this one? We'll do the same one Betty did. Sending love during this season of growth. And since I haven't used this one before, I'll show you guys how to put your stickers on. I do this every once in a while. This is how I do it. I know there's several ways. So you've got this sticker sheet that comes with your stamp sets. Pull the whole thing off like this. Now this is going to be very, very sticky, so be careful. Then use your block and stick it on there. Then we're going to just pull this paper backing off. I don't know who taught me how to do this several years ago, and I love it. Okay, so then you're going to turn your stamp upside down. These are for the red cling stamps. And then just stick it right on there. And it's very much easier for me to get that sticker on without it wrinkling and without it getting everywhere and without it getting uneven. Okay, so that's just what I do. All right, we're going to use our double oval punch. I'm going to punch out a balmy blue scalloped I like it like that. I might move that flower up a little bit. And then we will stamp with Memento ink onto the scrap of basic white. And we will punch that out with the, wouldn't you know, let's trim this down a little bit so it fits in the punch just right. And then we're going to glue that on. We'll just use some Stampin' Seal. I'm not going to pop it up. I'm going to pop the scallop up, but I'm not going to pop this part up. Okay. And then let's take some, I'm going to put it, you got to make sure where you put it that it's going to work. So I'm going to put it one right there. And I'm going to put one right under that edge. And I think that Calypso Coral flower will be fine where it is. I thought it might be a little crowded, but I think it'll be fine. I'm going to kind of tuck this little guy under there. There we go. All right. All right, let's add one more flower. I think I'm going to add the purple flower since I've got the blue down here. So I have that extra little blue flower. We'll add this fresh freesia flower right down at the bottom. So then we have an odd number of flowers, which odds are supposed to be easier to look at than evens. Okay, Betty added the matte black dots to hers. I am going to add these because they were sitting on my desk. And I am going to use these iridescent pastel gems. And I can't decide if I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use the larger ones. I thought I'd use the little tiny ones, but I think I'm going to use the larger ones. This card has all the bling. And I love how these iridescent gems kind of pick up the color that they're with. Now, if you were mailing a card like this, I would put a piece of cardstock or something in front of it in the envelope, just to protect the gems, and also so that the envelope doesn't tear. Just cut a piece of cardstock this size, the card size, and put it on top when you mail it. You should use a non-machinable stamp on this because of the gems. So if you were going to mail it. All right. That is the card. That's the lattice card. So I hope the tips were helpful. I love the little spacer that Betty showed us how to use, and then using your grid paper to line up your strips to begin with keeps everything nice, straight, and square. So that is a lattice card. If you guys have any questions about paper crafting or card making, I would love to answer them. So comment or send me an email. You can always go to leslie.stampinup.net, and there's a contact me button that you can send me an email. I think that's all. That is all for today. I'll be back Monday. I'm hoping I have time to get something together. I've got something working in my brain to reveal and to what do you call it? Launch. I wanted to launch it today, but I just have not had any time. And y'all, I have been just kind of a sickly little puppy. I'm hoping to get better. But I just need a little bit more energy and a little bit more time, and hopefully Monday I'll be able to launch something new. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and sign up for my emails. I send out free tutorials to my email subscribers. So there's a link below, and all the products I used in today's video are below. If you're on Facebook, I believe everything's above the video. If you're on YouTube, I believe everything is below the video. So you all have a great rest of the day, and happy stamping. We will talk soon.